I had a really hard time struggling of what I was going to share today because if you want to hear how this impacted my life in the 10 days we were gone, you need a couple of hours. But I've really prayed about it, and I'm going to tell you today about Magnolia. She and her daughter came on Monday. I was doing shoes, and she was the last one that I did. And we would wash her. I would wash her feet and put soap on it and rinse it in this cold water, and then dry them and put on shoes and socks. So I would always ask them if they were Christians. We would talk about that, and if they had a prayer need. So the mother, Amanda was the daughter, and the mother said that she needed me to pray for her job. So we prayed, and she left. Well, on Tuesday morning, Gloria said, "Come on, Andrea, I want you to go witnessing with me." And I said, "Nah, I'm not going to do witnessing. I'm going to do shoes and glasses and teeth, maybe shoes again." And she said, "No, come on, let's do this." So they decided on Tuesday morning to do a prayer room, and because there were so many needs of people coming into the school. Well, about halfway during the day, this lady comes in, and I recognize her because she had on the same sweater that she'd worn the day before, but she had her son with her who had on a pair of shoes. Now, they're only supposed to get one pair of shoes per family, and this was only God's doing that both of her children got shoes. So she came in, and we would usually say, "What do you want us to pray for?" And almost all of them said family. They want us to pray for a family. And that we would ask them if they were Christians and if they attended anywhere. And so we kind of went through the plan of salvation with her to make sure that she was a Christian, and she was. And she told Gloria and I that she had just recently moved there, that she had gotten a divorce. Her husband was threatening to kill her and her children, and so she had to move to this community, very, very poor, and she didn't know anybody. And that she had enough money to pay first month's rent, and she couldn't find a job, and she had had a job where she lived before, so she had to give up her job, everything she owned, to protect her and her children. So we talked a little bit, and Gloria, it was cold when we were there. It was their winter, and so she had borrowed Jerry Foster's jacket, and he had told her there was 2 power bars in it. So I hadn't even picked up on this, and Gloria said, "Have you and your children had anything to eat for the last couple of days?" And the lady started crying, and she shook her head no. So everything they told us was, don't give them food. You can't give them food, because if you give one person food, then it's going to be this big, huge group. But we really felt like we needed to. And I had some cashew nuts and some cheese and crackers in my backpack. So Gloria and I got those, and they hid them in this sack. And we prayed for her and for her son, Vernicia. So we invited them on Friday night to come to the celebration. This was on Tuesday. So on Friday night, Gloria and we had just really been burdened. We had looked every day. Maybe she would come back. Maybe she would come back. Well, on Friday night, we saw her. Here she was wearing that same blue and white sweater that we had seen her wear these 3 days in a row. And she had her son and her daughter, and during the praise time, she was just praising God. Here this lady did not know where her next food was going to come, her next meal was going to come. And so Gloria had told Jerry about it, and he wanted to meet her, and he had another power bar. Well, I was determined I was going to do more than that. And somebody told me Zach had quite a bit of Brazilian money, and we had left all of our money in the thing. So I found Zach, and I said, "I want $15 Brazilian money." And he said, "Well, it's on the bus." And this was another thing they told us, don't give them money. And I said, "Before we leave tonight, I want $15. And so he said, "Okay." Well, they started saying, go to the bus. And I saw Zach running to the bus. Well, he got on the bus and couldn't get back out because, they were going, "You got to get on the bus. We don't know what's going to happen. We need everybody to get on the bus." Well, Zach was leaning this way, and I was leaning in, and I got this money, and just praying that Wayne or nobody saw what I was doing. And I found her. There were all these hundreds of people outside, but I found her. And the praise band was still playing there, and I just gave it to her, and she stuck it in her pocket. She didn't see what I gave her. And I gave her a hug, and she did this, Even though we didn't speak the same language and I didn't have an interpreter there, we knew. So we get on the bus, and all these people are waving and telling us that they love us through the bus. And all of a sudden, she comes flying into the bus. Now, we had people standing at the bus where nobody could get in that wasn't part of our group. We don't know how she got in, but she came just flying. And Gloria and I were on the second seat, and she was just crying. And she just gave us this hug. And then her daughter comes flying onto the bus. And we know that we met a need. That one was a physical need. We met a lot of spiritual needs. And we got her in touch with the local church there because there's things that they can do to help her. But I ask everybody today to pray for Magnolia, her daughter Amanda, and her son Vinicius. Because we told her, we promised her when we came back to the United States that we would be praying for her. And I want to challenge everybody here today to become involved in missions, whether it's Brazil missions, whether it's a mission downtown Oklahoma City, whether it's a mission here in Edmond, or even a visitation. You know, we used to really have a real active visitation here when John Cobbs was here. And I'm kind of like Jonathan. God placed on my heart, it's more than about going to Brazil to a mission trip. And I will go back, and I will go back for 2 weeks next year. But I think that we all need to look around at our missions right here, around where we live, and take that to heart and know that you don't have to go to Brazil. You can pray for the people that go to Brazil.